Welcome everybody to today's webinar. We will stick to our bite-sized format today. I'm Megan Twentyman, the Brand Manager here at Soft Solutions, and on the line with me today is Anisha, who is our Technical Specialist.
Hi everyone, Anisha here.
And the purpose of today's webinar is to look at portable phone technology and the different technologies that are available. So we'll get cracking through that webinar. So, quick agenda for you, key advantages of portable phones, what are the key technologies, how do you choose and recommend and deploy for your customers, knowledge is power, resources, keeping up to date, and we will of course finish with a Q&A. We are focusing on Grandstream and Yealink technologies that we distribute, but if you have questions about other brands, feel free to ask those towards the end of the session as well. So what are the key advantages of portable phone technology? It's all about flexibility. So it's about staff not being stuck at their desks, the ability to use a combination of devices. So it might be a desk phone and a headset, or a desk phone and a portable phone, or a combination of all three. We've seen on recent webinars that Yealink's DECT headsets are now connecting into DECT base stations in the new generation, but obviously that's not what today's webinar is about. We're looking at the portable phone technology. It's about ensuring that your team can work the way they want to work, and it needs to be scalable for your team members as well. So especially if there are changes to the way that they work and that type of thing as well. So really, really important to have that flexibility because nobody wants to be tied to their desk. So the key technologies that we talk about are DECT, and there is single cell and multi-cell, and we're going to look at those in detail, and also portable Wi-Fi. So we're going to have a deeper look at each of those three different types of technologies and what they look like, why you would use them, and of course, as I say, we'll look at any questions as we get towards the end of the webinar. So single cell DECT, the best way I describe this is to think about, for those that still have a home phone or had a home phone, it's one or multiple DECT handsets connected to one base station. So the key here is that the handsets are all connected to one base station and one base station only. I've got images up here of Grandstream and Yealink solutions. Key difference with Yealink is they have a ruggedized in their DECT solutions. Now each model and manufacturer will have a different number of handsets that can be connected to the base station, but it's in the range of 5 to 10 depending on the base station and depending on the handset. Generally speaking, most of them have an indoor range or indoor distance of 50 meters from the base. For outdoor distance, that expands if it's a clear line of sight, so you can get up to 300 to 400 meters. You can also add repeaters to extend the distance. So something to think about here is each handset can only be connected to the one base station. We have had partners that have made the mistake of connecting their handset to different base stations and expecting them to hand off. That does not happen with the single cell DECT. It is connected and that's the way it works. In terms of interop, the DP752, we have a template created by Grandstream that will work with 3CX. Clarifying here that that is not supported by 3CX specifically. The Yealink bases have completed interop with 3CX, so they are supported by 3CX. But just thinking about the support issues, obviously we will help you with any of those support issues. We use Grandstream DECT in-house ourselves with no issues, as well as some Yealink DECT. So multi-cell DECT. Now this is a key point of difference. Now Yealink offer multi-cell DECT. There are other providers that offer multi-cell DECT as well. So I've just got images here of Yealink because that's what we are using. It's the same handsets, it is the base stations that are different. So the way multi-cell works is you have a DECT manager, which is the overall manager, and then you have base stations that hang off that. And the key thing with multi-cell is that the handsets can pass off between the base stations. So that is a key advantage if you are in a multi-story building where you've got somebody that needs to run up and down the stairs on a regular basis. It can be a huge advantage in an industrial environment. And just anybody that needs to go much bigger distance, or they might have some challenging layout of their building with metal walls, those types of things. There is a survey kit from Yealink, which has got little tripods and that type of thing that helps you to ascertain where you should place the base stations for a multi-cell DECT deployment. Now, there's only one of those in New Zealand. It can be loaned out, but when you're scoping out an opportunity that is looking like multi-cell, reach out and see if it's available, because that will help you with that configuration. So key thing with multi-cell is you can hand off between base stations. So you're extending and expanding that direction and that length of space. Portable Wi-Fi is a fairly new technology. It has been around from Grandstream for quite a while now. We use a lot of these handsets internally ourselves. So the key difference here is that they are based on Wi-Fi. So they are connecting to your access points, and you can hand off between access points. So some of our partners will put in portable Wi-Fi, and they'll actually add dedicated APs from Grandstream generally, just for the voice devices, and they'll hide them from anybody else on the network and keep it purely for voice. Others just add it to the existing access point network, and there's no right or wrong answer to that. It's just ensuring that you've got the bandwidth and the capacity on the wireless network. Some of the reasons that partners will look at putting in their own access points for it is that they may not be controlling the Wi-Fi of that particular customer or on that type of thing. So they want to be able to control the whole environment around the voice. So as I said, you've got the handoff, you're not limited to a base station, and businesses tend to have more access points, and they tend to be quite happy to spend on access points, as opposed to you telling them that they're going to need some additional DECT base stations and that type of thing. So Grandstream have a robust range of access points with a 3-year warranty as well. In the portable phone range, there are actually now 4 models from Grandstream. So we have the WP810, which is the phone pictured here in the middle, which is the smaller of the units, and that is a Linux-based solution. And we have the WP820, which is the first image on the left, and that was the first phone to actually come out. That's actually an Android build, and will integrate with like door intercoms and that type of thing. And then on the right is pictured the brand new WP825, which is the ruggedized version. And you'll notice that the phone positions into the middle of the charging cradle as well, so you can't accidentally not charge it. Okay, there is no interop for the portable Wi-Fi phones with 3CX. Grandstream have produced FXS templates. We have those and we can make those available to you, but they are not supported by 3CX. We will support you with them with your 3CX, but being very clear that they are not specifically supported by 3CX. In saying that, as I say, we have multiple staff members using these, including our managing director, and we find the flexibility of the portable Wi-Fi really good. The WP810, the WP825, which is the ruggedized, and WP822, which is a new phone that's the same size as the 820, but is Linux-based. Those 3 share a common firmware, and the WP820 has a separate firmware purely because it's Android and not Linux. So we have both those templates. You can reach out to us if you want help around that, but as I said, not specifically supported by 3CX. So how do you choose what's right for your customer? You've really got to have a consultative conversation with your customer about what their requirements are, why they need portable, do they need a combination of solutions working together, are they on a single story or multi-story building, do they have industrial issues like metal walls, heavy duty machinery operating, those types of things that can interfere with portable phone technology and give a bad experience of phone calls. So those are things that need to be considered. So you're really looking at environmental issues and what they're wanting to achieve. You need to think about the future, what may need to be added or changed, do they have budget constraints, those types of things. So really, the portable Wi-Fi is a hybrid, so it can be used in a, single cell environment and a multi-cell environment. Whereas single cell DECT or multi-cell DECT, you have specific use cases for those, and you need to think about the handoff and the environmental scenarios to be able to offer the right suggestion for your customer, because at the end of the day, your customer is trusting you, and that's where that consultative conversation comes in. And we're here to help assist with that. Happy to look at plans and offer suggestions. As I say, with multi-cell decks, there is the survey kit, and that is very powerful as well. So knowledge is power. Actually using the equipment, testing the equipment yourself is really important. We have demo equipment available to loan for Grandstream deck, Grandstream portable Wi-Fi, Yealink deck, and Yealink multi-cell deck. Multi-cell deck takes us a little bit longer just to pull all the bits together, because you can't test it with just one base station. You need a couple of base stations and a deck manager so that you can set it up correctly. We also have NFR pricing available across all units, so you can actually equip yourselves with stuff for your labs. You need to consider the integrations with your PBX solutions, and obviously we're targeting this at our 3CX partners specifically, but you need to consider what those integrations are going to look like. And as I said, not all deck solutions have completed interop. So Grandstream, we have a template not specifically supported by 3CX. Yealink are on the list, so they are interop and supported, and that's including single and multi-cell. And Grandstream's portable Wi-Fi, same thing, not specifically supported with 3CX. However, as I say, we use them ourselves and they work well. So resources, both Grandstream and Yealink have very good data sheets and product brochures. Those are available on their websites, or we have copies that we can send out to you. There's fantastic configuration guides. You need to consider all your usual things with hardware about firmware updates and all those types of things. Whether interrupt with 3CX, you need to make sure you're on the approved firmware for 3CX, those types of things. And we have access to those support teams for both Yealink and Grandstream to be able to assist if you did face any issues, but generally speaking it just all works, which is fantastic. So obviously we have our VoIP support at softsol.co.nz available for any support queries that you may have, and attending webinars like today for getting knowledge is obviously very powerful as well. Keeping up to date, so what I do know is 3CX are coming to town. We're just firming up those dates. I'm expecting those to be confirmed today or tomorrow. So there will be a technical training event run in Auckland. We will also be aligning our VoIP Showcase event to run alongside that, not necessarily on the same day, but to run alongside that. So once 3CX have locked in their flights and their dates, we'll lock in our showcase as well, which is about looking at all VoIP technologies. We know we've got partners that purchase hardware from us but don't use 3CX as a PBX. We know we've got 3CX partners that are using different hardware. So it'll be a chance to actually touch and feel a lot of the hardware and talk to the vendors around that as well. We have our monthly newsletters, our weekly newsletters, our LinkedIn Soft Solutions VoIP community group. It's where I post everything first. For anybody that has updated to update 5, you probably haven't yet because it was only released a couple of days. There's a hot fix this morning, so I've just posted that into the group. If you need to be connected up to those groups, please let me know. Technical trainings, we will start releasing a forecast for Q4 and Q1 so that you can plan ahead as soon as we see the materials from 3CX and have 3CX's date locked in as well, because we know people are going to need to recertify. Which brings us to the questions. Feel free to throw any questions into the question box and I will try and answer those. I've actually lost my question box on my GoToWebinar, so I'm just going to bring that back. There we go, I've got my questions back, so feel free to throw those in and I'll answer any that I can. The key thing is just thinking about those different technologies and how they may work. About 3CX recertification. So they are rewriting the certifications. We're waiting for the official announcement from 3CX. We believe the basic one's going to stay fairly similar, but will incorporate more information around the new startup product. And the advanced one is going to be revised. We understand that there's only going to be 2 certifications moving forward instead of 3, but it's all kind of up in the air at the moment, and Australia and New Zealand are going to be the first to have Nicholas Perez down presenting, so we're just trying to get those dates firmed up. But all certification is obviously important, whether it's the old certification or the new certification, and there will be a crossover period, so don't panic about that. Yep, good point about the support issues. So 3CX did send out the support email around hardware and that type of thing. What 3CX are doing, and I understand where they're coming from for doing this, is they are trying to narrow the scope of personalizations, I guess. So they've got their hosted by 3CX and their startup product coming, which will come out of beta very soon. They've actually always had a strict policy on hardware and that type of stuff. It's why we've always supported it. It's like the new little NX32 devices that we've got. We support those out of the company in Singapore. They're not specifically supported by 3CX, even though they're 3CX certified. So it's always been that way. I mean, our managing director's been using the portable Wi-Fi phone for several years now. I think he got it first in 2019, one of the first ones to ever hit the country. And it works perfectly fine. It's like if you put a custom template on a supported phone, then technically you're no longer supported by 3CX for that, and that's why we offer our first level support. So I get reluctance around hardware, but it's also got to be about the right fit for your customers. And you know, like anything, 3CX will change things as things evolve with companies. So we focus on Grandstream and Yealink, which are the brands that we've had for many, many years now, and they have served our customers really, really well. There are other brands out there, some more expensive, some sort of sit in the same price range, that type of thing. Yeah, that's where we're at with the supported side of things. How strong are the signals for the base stations? Tim, do you mean the actual specifications? I'll reach out to you separately on that and send you the technical breakdown of each of the base stations for both Yealink and Grandstream. Let me just scroll down. I think that's all the questions so far. Fantastic. If you do think of anything else, you can reach out to us on VoIP at softsol.co.nz and we'll happily answer those. So yeah, just clarifying around that support. As we said, if they're not on the interop list, then they are not supported by 3CX. However, they are supported by our team at Soft Solutions. We will continue to do that for our partners. Looks like I've got one more question coming in, so I'll just let that come in. Nope, hasn't come through. Might be typing, I'll just let that come through. But as always, you can reach out to us on VoIP at SoftSol. Do you have any portable phone hardware that can be used with V8 desktop app or web client? So the desktop app or the web client are designed for headset use. So they're not actually designed to be used with a portable phone technology. So they're not designed that way. So they are two fairly distinctly separate technologies. In terms of where Yealink are going with their DEC technology, they are connecting up headsets and the phones together so that you can kind of move between them. So that kind of integrates with the desktop app and the web client, but those apps have always been designed for being used online with 3CX, not with hardware specifically. Cool, I think that's all the questions that we've got. So thank you once again for joining us today. We will send out a recording of the webinar. Feel free to reach out with any other questions. Thanks again. We will be back in touch with our webinar next week, which is focusing on all the 3CX changes that are occurring at the moment because they are happening pretty quickly. We're just running a webinar to recap all those changes. So update 5 is now live. We're expecting to see a alpha of update 6 fairly shortly. And then we will start to see startup getting ready to go live as well. So a lot happening in the 3CX space. So stay tuned and thanks again for your attendance today.